Hello there, Biaka Muso desu and welcome to my review of Digimon Survive. As you may notice, I try to dress up a little like Aoi, the girl that I consider to be best girl in this game. Unfortunately, I thought I would have a wig for her to do at least her black hair, but I don't. I only have a too much long wig that I couldn't use. So, I am now doing this review after a lot of time because I had the game since the day it came out, because I actually did 3 of the 4 endings. So I did the moral path, the true ending, and the harmony path. So, when this game was announced, I became really curious about it because I really like Digimon. I'm more connected to Digimon than Pokemon because the games when they were the fever, the Pokemon games, they basically flew over my head. And I remember, I don't remember a lot, but I remember watching the Digimon anime as a kid. And I recently saw the reboot, we will not talk about that. I'm currently watching Digimon Ghost Game, which I actually recommend because I'm enjoying it very much. I like the protagonist, the Digimon of the kids, and I like how they are telling. And it's really interesting because Digimon Ghost Game, I feel like it's in the same line of Digimon Survive. So Digimon Survive starts by being a visual novel, which is a novelty in the Digimon games, and it also has a horror approach to the Digimon world. Of course, Digimon have always had some horror-like lore, but this is a real horror approach to Digimon, because so far, from what I know, it has been a really light-hearted approach. And so you have this plot where some kids, I think they are 8 kids are basically spirited away to a world they don't know of, and that world is the Digimon world, although they never call it that. And there they find Digimon, some are aggressive towards them, some create an instant connection with them, so become their Digimon partners, and basically they're trying to survive because the master of the Digimon world is basically sacrificing kids so he can gain power, and that power will be used for revenge and probably destroy both worlds, both the human world and the Digimon world, because the master, well, we will not go right now into spoilers, so let's take it by parts. So you have a huge cast of characters. You have Takuma. Takuma is our protagonist. I really like Takuma. I think he's the best character because he's the pure heart protagonist. Of course, he has Agumo as his partner. I know that Agumo is for Digimon, like what Charizard is for Pokemon, but really, the way I was never a huge fan of Agumo. For example, my favorite Digimon from the main kids of the anime was always Gatomo. But for this game, Agumo is really the best Digimon because he has like this innocent, childlike personality, and he acts a little bit like a pet, a dinosaur pet, and he's really cute. Then you have Aoi with Labramo. Labramo was a Digimon that I got to know through this game. It's not my favorite evolution line. I like her Mega, the Mega that she has through the game, but Labramo is also really cute. She's the one that really acts like a pet, and now we really treats Labramo like she's a dog. A dog that talks, but either way. Then you have Minoru. Minoru is more like this really happy-go-lucky guy, he's the anime energy guy kind of thing. He has some complex about he wants to be a hero. Yeah, whatever. And then he has Falcomo. Falcomo is actually for me, it's one of the best Digimon of the game because I really like the way he talks and the comments that he makes. He kind of reminds me, although I like Angoramo better, it kind of reminds me Angoramo in Digimon Ghost Game. Then you have Kaito. Kaito is for me best boy from all the guys. If I ignore Takuma, who is the protagonist and for me has the best personality, Kaito could be better if he didn't have a really strong obsession about Miu. You will see in the true ending he grows past that, but really, especially in the harmony path, Jesus, dude, please chill that Miu obsession. So he's the older brother of Miu. Kaito has Drachmo, which is the kind of unpredictable Digimon for a chosen kid, because he's a virus type, he has this obvious bad guy look, but Drachmo is also one of my favorite Digimon. If I had to do a top 3, I think I would put... I don't even know in what position I would put them, but my top 3 favorite Digimon of this game would definitely be Agumon, Falcomon, and Drachmo. And then you have Miu, which is Kaito's sister. She has a really... well, she's the younger of the group, and I think she really evolves through the game, but at the beginning I didn't really like her because she's really childlike, and she's really tsundere also. But you know, she cares about her brother, she doesn't want to be suffocated all the time by Kaito's constant overprotectiveness, and she's a really adult character when she's facing Kaito and trying to... she has some lines that I really like. And her partner is Hyakumo. Hyakumo, he actually has a pretty happy-go-lucky character, kind of personality. So, but I have no really strong thoughts about Hyakumo. It was a Digimon that I really like to see the evolution line and get to know more of. Then you have Ryo. Ryo is, you know, one of the kids that is, from the beginning, doomed to die. Because he's really scared of it. He cannot keep up what's happening in this scary world, and it's really tough for him because he's really scared of everything. He also becomes weird because his plot is connected to he's having some kind of trauma related to his mother, and you know, when he looks at Arukenimo and starts to go mama, it becomes weird really fast. But you know, after you get to know him, when you are able to save him, he's a really likable character. I actually really enjoyed Ryo. And his partner is Kunemo. It's actually kind of weird because Kunemo is the only partner Digimon that doesn't talk. But then if you are able to get his Mega, he's actually able to talk. And there's a really funny cutscene because Ryo tries to show Takuma that Kunemo can talk in that Mega evolution, but when he arrives, Kunemo reverts to rookie level and just doing noises. It's really funny. It's also really funny that Hyakumo, her Mega evolution is Marine Angemo, and when she becomes Marine Angemo, she does the opposite of Kunemo. She becomes unable to talk. So it's really interesting that they made these kinds of choices. And you have Shuji. Shuji is for me the most... I have no words for it. For me, I really hated Shuji from the beginning, and although I did like it a little bit more when I did the true ending, I still don't like Shuji. I liked how he started to develop his relationship with Lopmo. I mean, he even has one of the cutest Digimon, which is Lopmo, and he treats him really badly because of his daddy issues. I don't care what's his excuse. Shuji is a douchebag most of the time, and I don't like it, but the true ending really compensates for that because he really grows up. And I don't think I'm missing any of the kids. Yeah, so you see, you have a really huge array of kids. And then you have Haru and Miyuki, which were also kids that were brought to the Digimon world a while back. And then you have all this plot because Haru and Miyuki have been in this Digimon world for 50 years in the human world, For the Digimon world, it must have been even more time because time flows differently in both worlds. You can see that because Takuma at a certain point goes back to the human world, he is there for a few hours, and when he comes back, the group says to him that he's been gone for days. So the time flows differently between worlds, but that's something they had already approached in the anime. You will also see the character of Professor. You will discover some plot twists related to the Professor because it's not really every day that you see an old man being able to go to the Digimon world, so he has to be special. And of course you have other chosen Digimon, which are Renamo, which I really like, Renamo and her evolution line, and Gabumo. And Renamo here, I think she's a he, because usually it's a female Digimon, but the subtitles are a little confusing in this game. One thing that is not well done and they really need to correct is the subtitles, because the subtitles sometimes are a mess. They don't correspond to what they're saying. There was even a time I got so confused because the subtitles had nothing to do with the conversation. The subtitles are a mess and they mistake when it's a he, when it's a she, words are missing, sometimes the sentence itself doesn't make any sense. Please, if you review this game, please make the subtitles more understandable. This is a visual novel. I will say that this is not a game for everyone. So if you want a game that is more focused on action, more focused on the Digimon fighting, perhaps you should pick up another game. This is a very heavy story-focused game, so if you are not there to be reading all the dialogues, because sometimes the dialogues don't really have voice acting, most of them do. When it's especially the main story, but when you are sometimes exploring or you have free actions, you are just reading boxes of text, and maybe that's not interesting for everyone. For me, it was a really interesting game. I even did 3 of the 4 endings, so you can see how much I enjoyed the game. And now let's talk about those mechanics. So, you have the story part, there's nothing you can do, you are basically just watching the story unfold, and then you have various moments. You have exploration. Exploration is a moment where you only have to be careful to the exclamation point, because those are the areas that will continue the story. So if you want to do free battles so you can raise the levels of your Digimon, sometimes you can even talk to other characters in different places so you can raise the affinity and the relationship you have with them, and that's really important because that will influence not only the story but also the kind of evolutions their Digimon are able to get. And during those exploration time, you just have to avoid the exclamation point because that will move on the story. The free action, you do the same stuff, but you have limited moves. So each time you do an action that takes a move, that's done and you cannot go back to it. So, for example, if you choose to talk with the kids, you will not be able, for example, to talk with Agumo and get items, or talk with the professor and get items. You have to choose what are your priorities. And even in those movements, when you have those limited moves, you have to be careful, because if you want to develop the relationship with a certain kid, sometimes you don't have enough moves for every one of them, especially if you are doing the true ending and you have the 8 kids with you and not the other endings where some of the kids have died. And then, of course, you have the battles. The battles work in kind of a Final Fantasy tactics way, so you decide where to move your character. Different Digimon have different speeds and different areas of movement. You decide if you want to evolve them or not, if you want to use your turn to talk to the wild Digimon that you have, because you have 117 Digimon available in this game, and of course you get a trophy for collecting them all. I wasn't able to do that, I was missing 13 by the end of the game. So I wasn't able to do that. And when you talk to the Digimon, you have, of course, good and bad answers. Sometimes you have 6 bars to fill. If you do that, that's the most probability that the Digimon will come with you. But even that is not certain. So there were a few times where I felt a little frustrated because I was able to get the 6 bars for the Digimon, and then I would see that to ask him to be my friend, the probability was like 18%. And it didn't matter, of course, I'm pretty sure that it's better if you have the 6 bars instead of 3 or 4, but still, I had to take so many no's for an answer until I finally was able to get that one Digimon. The probability really sucks because, you know, sometimes the Digimon has like 6% chance of joining your team, and it's really rare for you to catch him in the wild, and that really frustrated me sometimes. And of course you can either ask them to be your friend, so to come with you in your adventure, or you can also ask them for items. And you have to decide what kind of items you want, because certain Digimon give you certain kinds of items. So for example, if you want to evolve your Digimon, because it's rather easy without asking for items, it's rather easy to get like perfect and was it ultimate? No, ultimate was the perfect ones I think were the most difficult ones. But the first enlightenment slabs are because you need to use enlightenment slabs to evolve the Digimon that you have on your team that are not chosen Digimon. So the chosen Digimon selected by the story, they evolve as you gain affinity and build relationship with the other kids. But the Digimon that you catch on the wild and join your team, those have to be evolved through items, and those items are the enlightenment slabs. And the most difficult one to get is the enlightenment slab to evolve Digimon to Megas. The other ones are pretty easy to gain through the story or just by fighting, by doing grind, but for you to get the enlightenment slabs for Megas, it's really difficult. So if you find a grind which has Gran Kuagamo, I think that's the name of the Digimon, you build relationship with him and ask him for items, because it's really difficult to convince him to join your team. So it's better if you try to get the Kabuterimo and just evolve him to Grand Kuagamo. So ask him for items, because I think he's the only one that gives you items to evolve to Mega. So if you want Megas, look out for that. And of course, if you want Megas for all the kids in your team, you have to build their relationship up to 70 at least. That's the only way you can gain the Megas for the main Digimon. The story is really interesting. When I did my first playthrough, I was like, no, I'm not gonna see a walkthrough. I'm trying to do the best I can. I will choose the answers I feel like are the ones that I would give if I was in Takuma's position. And it was really funny because at the beginning I was like, Wrathful and Harmony answers were more or less toe in toe. And then Harmony started to come up, and when I reached part 8, I have a lot of moral answers, but Harmony was still winning. And in part 8, they ask you to save and to choose a path. So you can basically choose the path where Takuma has returned to the human world, and you can choose to stay, and you have the other two options, which are save the world or save my friends. By the way, don't choose stay, because it's terrible. It's a game over. It doesn't even grant you a trophy, and you feel like Takuma for that ending is really out of character, so it's not worth it. And when I reached that place, I was like, save my friends. And instead of going for the Harmony path, which was the path that I had more choices for, I started the moral path, and I'm so happy that that was my first ending, because it was really weird because I was getting the evolutions for Agumon. Agumon is influenced by those. You get different evolutions for giving wrathful, harmony, or moral answers. So I was doing the harmony evolution line, and suddenly I'm in the moral path, and I get for the Mega Wargreymon, which is the Mega for the moral path. But I'm so happy that was the one I did, because besides the two mandatory kids that are supposed to die in the first playthrough, no one else died, and I got the best ending of all. I was able to see Puppetmon, which is an exclusive Digimon for the moral path, one of the bad Digimon. And then after that, after ending, I loaded the game to, well, I didn't load the game, I actually skipped most of the game, and this time, because in my first playthrough, what I wasn't able to get were any megas. I only got champions, ultimates, I never know what's the name for. But I didn't get any megas for the kids. The Agumon was the only exception. I also got Omegamon, which is awesome. I did the game again to do the true ending. This time I was able to save Ryo, I was able to save Shuji. You see a huge development of these characters in the true ending, and I'm really happy with how the true ending does things. And the moral path, it's not as good as the true ending, but it is really similar in many aspects, and it does it is the best ending if you ignore the true ending. And then I was like, you know, I have my save file for before I took the decision to do the moral path. Let's try doing the harmony path. The harmony path, if it was my first ending, I would have been so pissed, because it's horrible. It's horrible. You lose a lot of kids, you know, after Ryo and Shuji, you lose Miyu, you lose Kaito, you even lose the professor, Miyuki and Renamo. It's bonkers. You lose almost everyone. You finish the game with Takuma and only 3 kids. It's horrible. But it's interesting to see the story of both Baltamon. It was really emotional because in that path you can see that Kaito is not really best boy, because he's really obsessed. Of course, he loves Miyu and he cannot take the loss of Miyu. So he basically wants to destroy both worlds because Miyu is not in none of them. It's really twisted, his logic. But I'm really happy that that was my third ending, because I would be really pissed off if that was my first ending. So I was able to do the best choices for me and get the best ending for my first playthrough. When I did the true ending, I also got all the megas for all the kids. You know, each time you have to give them an answer. You can save your game, test the answer. If it's not the best answer, go back and try again. You can also follow a walkthrough if you want. I avoided walkthroughs. I only did walkthroughs in my true ending to try to get some Digimon that I didn't have, and as you can see, I wasn't able to get all of them. But it's a really fun game. The fighting, sometimes it becomes a little repetitive. When you are trying to get the Digimon in the first playthrough, it's fun and all, and you are trying to raise the levels for your Digimon, but after a while it becomes really boring, and there was a time I was just avoiding the fights because I was already like level 60, 70, and it's not worth it. But I really like the game, I like the story, I like how they tell the story. Here Digimon are not called Digimon, they are called Kemonogami because of the legends. It's a really interesting game. I don't know if they are interested because you have different endings, you see different ways that the digital world affects the human world after you fight the villain. I don't know if they want to do a sequel or something in this line. I feel like this game is good as a standalone game. I really recommend it. If you are not into visual novels or big story dump information, maybe this is not the game for you, but I think it's a really different take and a really interesting one at that. By the way, Moral Path, the one thing I will not forgive you is you give me this really emotional moment with Renamo sacrificing herself and everything and turning into a Digidama By the way, only Digimon to do so, because every other Digimon we have seen have just died, which is not normal because they turn into Digitama normally, but whatever. So, and Miyuki carrying her around, and then you just destroy my all the emotions I wasted on that moment, because it was really well done, by turning, after a few minutes, a few moments of story, turning her back into Renamo. Really, I thought she would spend more time, maybe Miyuki would go home with the Digitama, something like that, but it's one of those things where I feel like my emotions were wasted, you know. But it's a really good game, it's really well written. We could talk about the different endings where the human world and the Digimon world merge, and most people are getting the Digimon, and the implications that has on the world, because people who don't have Digimon start to be afraid of people who have, the power struggle, all that stuff. It's really interesting. They are looking into those kinds of consequences. The soundtrack is also really good. I really like the main theme. I would actually like to do a cover of it if I'm able to do a cosplay of one of the kids. The one character I would really love to do a cosplay is Aoi, because I feel really close to Aoi. And I would love to try and do a violin cover of the main theme, but the soundtrack in general is really good, really amazing. And that's basically it. So if you want, share your favorite moment of the story, questions that you may have about the story, about the different endings. I didn't talk a lot about the harmony path, so in all the endings you basically fight the master to try and restore order to both worlds. The both worlds begin, so in the moral path they don't merge, but people start to be aware that the Digimon world exists. In the true ending there's kind of not really a merge between worlds, but Agumon and the others are able to go to the other world, to the human world, and spend their time with their kids. And in the harmony path, so Piedmon, this is the only path where you see more of Piedmon. In all the other paths you think he's dead, and Piedmon is in the harmony path, and he suggests Kaito to fuse Dracmon in his Myotismon form with him, so you can get both Bautamon. And Kaito is really blinded by his wanting revenge for Miyu's death, and he accepts this. And it's really painful because Dracmo goes along with it, and it's so painful to see the conversation between them. And of course, this is all Piedmon's plan, because yes, he does want revenge on the master, but he basically takes advantage of Kaito's hatred. And you end up fighting the master, and both worlds end up mixing together. And Takuma and the surviving kids are going to basically found an institution where they will try to guide kids that are getting Digimon and try to protect them. It's really chaotic, and it's really interesting that they are trying to take care of all these consequences. So tell me, what is your favorite ending, your favorite moment? Who is your favorite character in this game? If you want to try to change my mind about some characters. And you can always check my Twitch channel. I'm currently playing Resident Evil Code Veronica. We are on Spookytober. We are going to try and do all horror games during this month. And to support my content, like this video, subscribe if you want to see more content and other stuff, and may music always be your life force.